Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters. Sorry we're late. We're having some internet issues. I have a couple of guests on here with me today, Jack Pine and Sylvia Koczerzuk. Sylvia told me that I guess internet is being probably because everybody's staying at home, and if they aren't, they should be. And that's probably why. So let me zip through a couple of things real quick. I have to share my screen because for some reason I'm not able to upload my photos, or I just can't figure out how to do it with this new platform. So my name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We are an international educational center where we teach people all over the world how to empower the lives of animals and the people that care for them. We do that through our live streaming services. We do that through our live streaming services that we offer here at the Animal Behavior Center, but we broadcast to people all over the world. We do that through working with applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement. You can find out more about what we do by visiting our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. You can also email me directly, Laura, Lara, at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I see people coming in. Sorry for being late. We were having some technical difficulties. So I'm going to run through just a couple of photos. Let's see. So here on Facebook, if you want to pay attention to upcoming events, which are all virtual at the moment until further notice, upcoming events, things we have scheduled, you can find that on our Facebook group. You can also join our email newsletter list. I have an article due this morning, or not this morning, this week. I need to sit down and figure out what I'm going to write it on. I could write it on the times of training animals while sheltering in place. But you can join our email newsletter list right here from our Facebook page. We've been having, in our memberships, we have our online learning memberships, level 1 for companion animals, level 2 more for people who are interested in getting in the field of applied animal behavior, board certified behavior analysts, professional trainers, professional dog trainers, zookeepers. We have virtual cocktail hours. We've been having them for 3 weeks now. And we're starting to learn that now that we're sheltering in place, cocktail hour can happen any time of day. A couple of things that we have going on here. As you guys may or may not have known, over about 2.5 weeks ago, I shut down the center completely, meaning shutting down, meaning telling all volunteers to stay at home. This has been a lot for me. This has been a lot. So for 2.5 weeks, I've been taking care of 16 animals by myself, and I was just sitting here talking to Sylvia about this right before we got started. It's starting to take a toll on me. This is a lot of work. I'm extremely exhausted. I can't get enough sleep. I'm out there working till late at night, and then I got to come in and work on the computer. But I'm not complaining. Yes, I am. I'm having fun. I'm training a lot of the animals that I previously was, my time was scattered with them. So here's Andy, the Major Mitchell's cockatoo. We're making progress. Kooky, the kookaburra, I now have him recall trained, scale trained. He is an education animal. We'll be using, he'll be in educational programs soon here, as soon as the United States opens back up. Axel was our green arsari. This is Jelly Bean, curl-crusted arsari here for training. That will be also used as an educational animal, and she's doing fabulous. I've been doing live streams on the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page to try to keep things uplifting and happy, and I'm taking requests of which animals people want to see. And here's just a screenshot. I did one of the dogs and Cello, our roller pigeon, landing on the camera. That is his cue that live streaming and training is getting ready to happen. So I tried it again with Willie, our turkey vulture, and then there's Cello's tail landing on the camera again. I'm taking advantage of these times to teach all of the animals all kinds of things, and the lemurs are just skyrocketing with their training. The lemurs are also education lemurs, getting them prepared for lemur encounters, educational opportunities through one of the zoos I work very closely with. Here they are targeting to my knee, just something. A target is when you request an animal to touch a particular their body part to an object. So here I am targeting their front two hands to my knees. I do this a lot with mammals of this size because it's a way I can keep control in an uncontrolled environment. If they're targeting their hands to my knees, it's telling them where I want them to go in case the environment gets out of control and for their safety. In the Parrot Project, every Friday we do Foraging Fridays. This is one of our online services for people with companion parrots or parrots in zoos. Enrichment is huge, and you guys can see that right now. When we are living in enclosures such as our house, and we are confined from the outside world, which is a lot of how we keep a lot of animals, we're seeing the side effects of unenriched environments, lack of choice, what that can have on effects that can have on behavior. Think about how this applies to our animals in everyday life. Jack, I can hear your birds in the aviary. Jack's in the lobby. I'm getting ready to bring him and Sylvia on. Some other things. This just happened yesterday. This is Jelly Bean out in our center. I'm going to start live streaming this in the Parrot Project. Because I've called all our volunteers off and out for the time being. One has been tested positive for being exposed to COVID-19. She's been resting at home for the past week and a half. And we knew this was going to happen. All right, so this was the importance of getting emergency procedures in place, which we do, because we do expect in the coming month, people we know are going to start getting sick. Do we have these protocols in place, and how are we going to keep places running? Like right now, what if I get sick? You know, I am the only one in here taking care of 16 animals. Thankfully, all of my volunteers, not my volunteers, all of the volunteers of the Animal Behavior Center know what to do, so they can step into place. We've taken provisions that what if a couple of them get sick? One of the things that has taken a hard hit here at the Animal Behavior Center is our animals. Because I'm the only one here, we are lacking enrichment. I cannot keep up. Enrichment is not getting done, is not getting made, and it's taking a toll on some of our animals, in particular right now, Rocky. So all I had to do yesterday was, some people are watching my Facebook page, and I'm trying so hard to get to that enrichment. So what I'm trying to do right now, because I'm just focusing on cleaning cages, feeding, I am doing some training, is I'm switching animals up and getting them out in the center. They're going out there by themselves, which they don't particularly care for, but it's better than sitting in an enclosure all day, non-changing. I want to give a huge shout out to Christy Scheffler and her son, from Noah's Ark and Novelty. They found out that we were struggling here yesterday with enrichment, and she took several hours out of her day to put together toy parts and made this huge delivery to us yesterday, which I didn't have a chance to get to. I hope to get to that today. So there they are yesterday, making that delivery here to the Animal Behavior Center. And that's Christy and her son Justin. I want to give you a huge, both of you, Noah's Ark and Novelty, a huge thank you. I'm having a hard time because my husband and I are in isolation. We've been in isolation, I don't know how many days now, I can't even remember, coming up on 3 weeks at least. It's shopping here is very hard. I'm worried about getting food for the animals because every time I place an order, it's 3 days out, and I'm not getting all the food that we need. But I want to say, over the past 2 weeks, people have been helping. We're in isolation. I cannot get out. I cannot go to the store. I'm about ready to break that because if I don't get hands-on items that these animals need, we're taking food from our house and getting it to them. I want to give a huge shout out to Bonnie Kratzman. Yesterday, unannounced, she just showed up and she's like, "Here's fruit. What do you need? Fruits and vegetables for the parrots, for the lemurs." So thank you, Bonnie. Oh, I didn't mean to show this, but that's me cleaning all the groceries that have been delivered on my front porch before they come into the house. The dogs are faring well. They're getting a lot of outdoor time. There's a little, I told you guys there were going to be hints to things that are coming up in our future. There's a little hint. Okay, with that being said, Sylvia's smiling because she knows what it is. Very few people know what it is. Let me go ahead and bring on our guests, Sylvia and Jack Pine. Sylvia Koczerzuk from Ontario. And Jack, do you live in Texas?
Yes, Houston, Texas.
Okay, great. I figured that. So thank you both for coming on here with us today. I picked this topic of just an open discussion. We can bring on other people if we want, but we can only, Sylvia and Jack are my guests today. We could only bring on one more person at a time, but I wanted to get this discussion started. I want to talk about what's happening today, is that cockatoos?
Yes.
Okay. I want to just discuss, let's just start talking. Sylvia and I were talking before the live stream even started about how this is impacting our lives, how this is impacting our lives with animals, how this is impacting our businesses, our futures, how are we holding up, what do we need to do? So Adrian says, "Hi, Jack," and says, "Hi, Sylvia."
Hi, Jen.
So here we're dealing with this. Sylvia, you're a professional dog trainer out of Ontario, Canada.
Yep.
And Jack, do you want to? You're out of Texas. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do, since this is your first time on here?
Sure. Well, I was for Parrot Festival as well, but this is
a little different. That's right.
So I am the animal manager, animal curator, depends on who you ask and how fancy they want me to sound, over at Blessington Farms. So it is a pick your own berry farm located in Simonton, Texas, which is a little bit west of Houston. And of course, you can hear all the birds in our aviary want to be a part of this as well. Now, we do a lot of things with a lot of field trips. We have a lot of kids who come out. So we are, with our animals, primarily an educational facility. We want to get kids interested in our animals, learning about them. And so we have a good variety of them. And of course, we also have our strawberries, blueberries, blackberries.
Great. So are you guys shut down, Jack?
So we primarily have two different areas. We have our farm funland area, which includes all of our animals, all of the fun things, the barrel train, the slides, and all of that is closed down right now. And then we also have our agricultural section, which has all of the growing strawberries, blueberries, blackberries. That area is still open because it is agricultural, so it's exempt. But obviously, as people can't leave their houses, we aren't as busy there as you would expect us to be at this time of year.
Gotcha. Okay. That's giving me some ideas for some work. Yeah, because people are going to start thinking, I'd say almost all of the states in the United States are now going to shelter in place, minus, as of yesterday, 5, and I don't even understand how most states can have shelter in place, but some don't. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, um, sheltering in place, it's starting to have a lot of different types of effects on different people. Um, this is hard. Like I said, this has been going on for about 3 weeks for me. My husband and I are not leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's tough. Everybody's starting to learn how to order and live online now. And this is probably going to carry over to when the world starts opening back up again. Um, so I know I am I am going to be changing a lot of my ways. I am not going to get caught off guard like this again. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so actually, Jack, the last time I saw you was in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually think I got the coronavirus coming back from Houston. It,
Okay.
I mean, because I was traveling from two different international
Yeah.
airports, from Detroit International, Houston International, then back from Houston, Detroit. Um,
Okay.
but what I'm saying is when they started, so after I got back from Houston, when I landed, I was sick before I took off from Houston. And
Okay.
I was sick for 2 weeks. And this is before, I mean, coronavirus was just still being talked about overseas. And then I came home, my sister got sick, my mom got sick, all three of us were very sick. And we were showing, all three of us were showing the signs and symptoms now that we know of coronavirus. So I really think we all think we were already had it, but until a test comes out proving that. So I mean, if I could just find out if I've already had it, it would make my life a lot easier. And actually, for me, if that's what it was not very bad. I mean, it took me
Okay.
down for 2 weeks. It took me down for 2 weeks, and I had the cough and I had the fever. And there were 3 days where I was so extremely exhausted, I couldn't even get out of bed. I tried to get out of bed, and then I just went back to bed. My sister, if she had it a little worse than I did. She had it about 3 weeks and a cough so bad she said that her eyes were blood red. So it looks like it's affecting different people different, but I don't know. I don't know if I had it. So that's why I'm continuing to shelter in place in case if that's not what I had. I also felt like I had pneumonia, so that's when I went to the
Mm-hmm.
doctor. Um, anyways, if that's not what I had, I still need to be very careful, and I want to be very careful for other people. Yeah. So um, I'm looking at different topics. What people are saying. They're talking about shopping online, stuff like that. Sylvia, are you having any problems getting food for your dogs? Anything like that?
No, because right now, every province in Canada is mandating their own regulations. So the pet stores are considered essential services. I usually am stocked up with the dog supplies, so I have been okay. We usually have stock for ourselves as well, but and a lot of the pet stores are offering delivery for those that can't. Communities coming together. There's even the county that I live in. There, one lady started a Facebook group, and anybody who is willing to help make deliveries for people who can't get out. So I don't think people around me are hurting in regards to that. So I know Toronto is pretty strict because they're a hotspot, and so I don't know what's going on there because even though we have our provincial regulations, they've enacted even stricter regulations because they are a hotspot. But I have had um, no trouble getting food from myself or my dogs. We're usually stocked up on toilet paper. that seems to be an issue. But we're okay. So whenever we do see it, we stock up on it. But yeah, so we're okay here. And the dogs just think it's wonderful. We're at home all the time.
Yes, and that's something where we've started talking about in level 1, which is preventing separation distress, separation anxiety, because everybody's at home with their animals right now, and when we go back to work, how is that going to affect our animals? So we're doing different exercises in level 1 and practicing in preventing separation distress and anxiety.
Yeah.
Which is it's extremely important because your animals don't understand what's going on.
No. So I mean, in our house, we're always practicing how to deal with being calm. So that's always something that I strive to teach the my owners and clients that I work with. But yeah, for sure, that is something that we're talking about because dogs are getting out more. They're getting more exercise. So and when everybody goes back to work or back to school, yeah, they're going to be in shock. And I mean, owners can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go except to the grocery store. And we're not doing that very much because nobody wants to expose themselves. So, yeah, so our animals have us almost 24/7.
Yeah, yeah. Even Jen says enrichment for the dogs has been difficult without all the staff here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been struggling because I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
I've got 3 dogs that are not getting as much. I don't have time to take anybody for a walk because I'm too busy cleaning, feeding, so I just have to get creative. So our primary form of enrichment for all our animals right here right now, which is something we do anyways, it's always a part of enrichment and keeping animals used to change, is because I don't have the time, all I'm doing is shifting animals, shifting. I'm constantly moving them. Um, like with birds in cages, everybody just goes one cage to the left. And there you get all those empty toys. But you get different perches, new views. And then as far as the dogs and the pig and the lemurs, like I'm getting the dogs in the house now that the weather's starting to get nicer. Thank God. I mean, if this was going to happen, I'm glad it's happening now instead of December, where we're all just trapped inside. So now the dogs and the pig, I can start to shift them. You guys just stay in the backyard for 2 hours. Now you're going to go to the other backyard for 2 hours. Now you're going to go to the center for 2 hours. That's why Jelly Bean yesterday, I started getting her out into the center. I was like, I've got to get the Kookaburra out. You guys got to get Andy, the Major Mitchells out. So
Yeah.
just getting creative with enrichment.
Yeah. I mean, I always have lots of recycling saved up. So there's that. And then, well, you know about the online uh, enrichment class that's going on. So, just 1 to 3 minutes even of teaching your animals something brand new is enrichment, and you're engaging their mind. So, um, I'm trying to do that on a daily basis, just introducing new things to them. And it's quite satisfying to them. They always get things to forage. That's a regular part of our day anyway. So they do get that. I went and stocked up on, luckily, our local butcher shop is still open. So I stocked up on some raw bones. And, I don't know if everybody has that luxury to have that around them, or I don't know what are the pet stores doing where you live. I mean, here it's an essential service, so stocking up on things to chew on. If you don't have those toys, I know some of my clients that I'm doing online stuff. We've gone through a lot of the enrichment, and they're thankfully are able to order some things online, so they all have new ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. I know something. I mean, for those of, because I'm looking for curbside pickup. I'm looking for anybody that can deliver. I'm just trying to figure out what is moving above Jack's head.
Oh, there's a peacock up there.
I was just like, Jack, you're about to be attacked. You're being stalked by something. That is so cool.
Yeah, I have a peacock up there. I've got a peahen down here. As you may have noticed, I've got about 40 parakeets all around me. I've got
I can't see him.
pigeons, fantail pigeons. The Quaker parrots, they don't want to be in screen, but you can hear them yelling.
You can't see Jack, Sylvia?
No, I can't see or hear him.
Oh, Jack, can you see Sylvia?
I can see and hear her.
Oh, interesting. I'm sure a lot of people would want to see your aviary, Jack.
So does that mean everybody else can't see me either?
No, I think everybody can see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, so to continue on your topic of just like different means of enrichment, because for us, one of the things we bank on at this time of year, we get several thousand people a weekend. So that level of interaction is enriching on its own. We've trained all of our birds to land for feeding. So right now we're trying to sort of maintain them in that because that's what they're used to, which is why you see the birds will land all over me. But we've had to play around with a lot of different things because we've massively cut back on our staffing, obviously to maintain health and wellness of everyone. So there's a lot of things that we have to do to try to make it more efficient to enrich our animals. So things like when we're going through to clean, we'll plan on running sprinklers in different enclosures for 15 to 20 minutes before that. Because not only does it give the birds a sprinkler, they get to exhibit some natural behaviors, it makes hosing out an area a lot easier. So that it works out great.
And that's where you're at now, right, Jack?
Yes, I'm inside our walk-through aviary right now. So this is an area where we let kids come in, we give them little cups of seed, the birds will land all over them. For things like our parakeets, it's absolutely adorable. When the pigeons try to land on you, it's borderline terrifying at times.
Why? Why?
Because it's a full-sized fantail pigeon.
Oh, okay.
They are not the most graceful birds. They mostly just try to land on me, and they pretty much only want to land on my head. So it's fun.
I get that. I had my turkey vulture land on my head yesterday. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, not a perch.
Yeah, I've got a rose-breasted cockatoo right next door who every time I go into his enclosure has decided he is going to land on my head. So that's fun. But no, another thing you can do if you have multiple enclosures next to each other, you can explore things like music or just different sound enrichment, because that way, if you put on a stereo, you can enrich multiple animals at once. Apparently, I am enriching our Moluccan cockatoo just by being in here. I don't know how well you can hear him in the background, but he wants to be a part of this.
He's not too loud.
Okay.
But yeah, so Tim just says Sylvia's probably confused if she can't hear or see Jack. So yes, Sylvia, we're sitting here having a conversation with Jack in his aviary.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. So like I said last week, studies show that social enrichment is one of the most complex forms of enrichment. Whether that's animals socializing with us, animals socializing with volunteers, animals socializing with other animals of the same species. I do find here, there's a lot of visual enrichment here, which I'm sure, Jack, you have it as well, where this is why I love outdoor enclosures for numerous different types of animals. Specifically, like, I work a lot with exotics, so I'm constantly thinking bears, lemurs, birds. I love large outdoor enclosures as long as that's not stressful for the animal, because there's so much, all the senses are aroused. You've got the breeze, you've got the sense of different animals, different people, you've got potential predators flying above. Audible enrichment, you know what I mean? They can hear the different things. Those things help keep animals used to change. That's why here I need to get the lemurs out. If we're going to be in this state for not the state of living for God knows how much longer, I've got to get these lemurs out of where they are. So I'm figuring out how to do that. We're also contemplating possibly opening our doors to 2 more animals that have been. I got to figure out how I'm going to do this. So then I'd be taking care of 18 animals. These animals are stuck in this situation. They were in the process of being transported and now they're stuck. So I have offered, bring them here. I will figure it out. Bring them here. Right now, we've got a training room that's only being occupied by 3 birds and a pig. We can figure something out and put them in there. So this is affecting so many people and animals in so many different ways. You know, and we're only thinking about how it affects us. Now is not the time to have a health problem. You know, so I am trying so hard not to get sick. As far as I have underlying health issues, which is why I have chosen to be in isolation for 3 weeks. Now is not the time for me to be getting sick because the last place I want to go is a hospital.
Right.
So it's very important for us to take care of ourselves and try to keep that stress level as low as possible.
Yeah, the fun thing about this is once all this... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I just don't want Sylvia sitting there thinking nobody's saying anything.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so the fun thing is that once this all started, I actually contracted pink eye.
Oh,
So
jeez.
I know, right? So I ended up doing a online visit with my doctor over the phone. The fun part is I let one of my best friends know, and she texted me. I actually got the text message while I was at work in here cleaning out the aviary. So as I pull out my phone to look at it, she says, "Why are you even touching your face right now? You're not supposed to do that." Because of where I stopped, I was right under one of these perches. One of the pigeons pooped all down the side of my face. So pretty safe bet that I could have got it from not touching my face. But it's just one of those things that it's like, yeah, this isn't a good time for any of these things to be happening.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sitting here reading the comments. Yeah, we're going to have to stay healthy. We have to think different, which I think we already are doing that. We have to think different about the future. Like I'm talking future next week. I'm talking future next month. I'm talking future in 4 months when we start coming out of this. How are we going to take those steps? You know what I mean? I don't know how long we're going to be in this. Sylvia's in Ontario. Jack, you're down in Texas. I know here in Ohio, I'm hearing so many different. I'm listening to our governor goes live every day at 2:00, so I've been really paying attention. Governor Mike DeWine, who rocks. We originally, I had heard we're going to be at our peak mid-May. Then I heard end of April. Then I heard 2 weeks, and now I'm hearing again mid-May. That's a long time. Because once we hit the peak, we've got a long time to go before we even get to our peak. Once we hit the peak, how long are we going to be in it? And then when we're in it, how long are we going to have to take to come out of it? You know what I mean? And one of the nation's hot spots is 50 minutes north of here, Detroit. Yeah.
I am not far from Windsor. So
Okay.
Windsor across from Detroit. So our county health doctor, he's very, very, very concerned because of the proximity. and Windsor and Detroit are twin cities because of the big three. We have a fair amount of health workers that are Canadian, or they might be American and they live in Windsor and County, um, that are traveling over to Detroit to work. So that's been a big concern about allowing them to continue going to work and coming back, um, having been exposed because Detroit is a hotspot. So that for my area, that is a bigger fear. But yeah, I mean, where I live isn't overly populated, so I'm happy. I'm happy about that reduces my risk. But yeah, we're being really careful. So
Yeah. Well, they're talking about, I guess, even though Michigan is a half a mile north of where I live, so we're right on the Michigan line. When I fly, I always fly out of Detroit. And they're talking about bringing their overflow that's happening in Detroit down to Toledo. And one of our volunteers here is an ER nurse here in Toledo. You know, I worry for everybody and their families in this. Yeah, so we've got to be thinking about the future, and figure out ways to deal with what's getting ready to happen. I don't know if you guys listened to Trump's talk last night.
Uh, I honestly, I'm starting to. I do listen to him often, but I'm starting to limit the news because I do want to keep my sanity.
Yep.
And I'm trying really hard to, get fresh air, get if the sun is out, get some sunshine, interact with the dogs, interact with friends online. Because I mean, we do have to stay informed, and I'm certainly trying to do that, but I am trying to limit news that I don't need to listen to.
Yeah. You listen to
Well,
it. Go ahead, Jack.
oh, sorry. I was going to say, I know you're talking about the long-term planning, but one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that we will not stay in this current situation indefinitely. There is an end to it, so it's just a matter of how soon we can get there. So, I mean, while it's easy and necessary to focus on all of the negative impacts that are going on, there are things to look forward to as well. That's why I wanted to be in our aviary, because for a lot of people, it's like, hey, it's still spring. Like, things are leafing out, flowers are blooming. It's good things are still happening. One of the positives, if you can call it a positive, so with all of this going on, it has become significantly easier to explain different animal care concepts to people. Like you were saying, they understand the importance of enrichment for their animals while they're in care. All of our animals, when we get new animals in, they go through a mandatory quarantine period. People are understanding the importance of that. The peacock definitely agrees with that. We are having the opportunity right now. We're developing a lot of online content that we wouldn't have otherwise had the opportunity to do. So we're doing video sessions, teaching about a lot of our different animals. We're setting up virtual field trips so that people can, at least get away a little bit. I mean, it's important to, if you can stay home, just stay home. Obviously for people who take care of animals, we sort of understand how the notions of biosecurity sometimes change depending on the actions that are taken. And because it's not consistent actions taken everywhere, because we get new information with the testing, obviously those dates change. And for some people, it can be like disheartening just because you're getting different information every day. But
I
I mean,
Yeah, Sylvia, Jack's talking about the importance of staying positive, looking towards the future. And if you do, I had to turn off the news because I was just like, for Pete's sake, I'm tired of doom and gloom. So I did turn off the news, and I didn't turn on the news for like 3.5 days. So when I turned it back on, I was like, whoa, boy, so much happened in 3.5 days. But you know what? I was in my own little world out here, and I'm taking this time to be with the animals, and I'm actually laughing a lot, having fun with them. I'm dancing. I'm doing things I wouldn't usually do. Sylvia Jack was also talking about how they have gotten creative and created online virtual field trips. So, in here at the center, we've been doing nothing but online for 5 years. So now I'm thinking how to do things differently online. But yeah, it's a great time to educate, like Jack was saying, about the importance of quarantining, what you look for. This is a
Yeah.
great time for education because you turn on the news. Like right now, I guarantee you, I'm going to turn on the news, and and I was thinking about this yesterday. I was just like, every news, not going to say, when I pull up the news in the morning, it's doom and gloom. It's like the next thing that, bam. So I'm just like, me thinking in applied behavior analysis, I was like, why are they only focusing on the negative? Because that's what's attracting the attention. So there's their reinforcer. Ratings are reinforcers. So I think a lot of this stay positive. I mean, now we can meet with anybody.
Yeah.
I can FaceTime with my dad. I can FaceTime with you guys. I can, do Zoom sessions with you guys.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm sharing training with other trainers. So we're just like in the challenge that we're doing, we're all sharing our little clips of what we're doing and keeping positive about it and positive feedback and trying to stay away from that topic, but just playing with our dogs, having fun with them. And there's so many things that you can do for owners that are stuck because we are limited now where we can take our dogs. So, I mean, car rides it's still stimulation. You can still drive to a new spot. Gas
yep.
is really cheap.
Is
So
it?
you're not thinking twice about going for that ride to a new place. Even if it's locked and you can't get out, you can sit there, you can roll down the windows, you can put on some music with your dogs, and you can chillax in the car. If you do live in a house and you have a backyard, I mean, you can hide things in the backyard for your dog. Get them using their their sense of smell, which has a pretty big calming effect too. So there's so many things. I mean, we can still do, and I think we need to look towards that. I'm sure a lot of communities are seeing more people out and about. We are getting a lot of public spaces getting locked up now, which is a little concerning because I think that's the wrong approach. Because a lot of people are going to start getting frustrated if they can't go to certain places. So,
I
but
think for these large outdoor places, they just need to maybe have people standing around, making sure distance is being kept. Because I agree, probably shouldn't start shutting down outdoor places because if um, Jack's place would be a place of interest in me to go to get out, you know,
Mm-hmm.
see something different. Um, yeah. So just be creative. Be really
yeah,
creative. Go ahead, Jack. Were you
Yeah,
gonna?
and so that's why we're still open for like our berry picking. And I mean, we don't get many people out here at a time. For the safety of our plants, we've always required hand sanitizer and things to be used to sanitize hands, sanitize scissors or tools that we use for our berries. Um, but we're doing everything we can to keep it as clean, as safe as possible. But it's still a thing you can go out and do. Uh, and you can definitely. I mean, we've got over 70,000 strawberry plants. You can definitely pick strawberries and maintain 20, 30 feet between you and everyone else without an issue. So
Is it just berries, Jack?
yeah, so right now we just have strawberries. We've got strawberries, basically from the end of November, beginning of December until about June. We've got our blueberries coming on right now, and then we should have blackberries coming on towards the end of spring, beginning of summer.
Okay. Do you ship those by chance?
We do a lot of local grocery stores. I know HEB is getting a lot of attention across the country because of you know, the actions they've taken. They've really stepped up in trying to organize this to make it so that people can get the things they need. And we do a lot of work with them. And we're really happy with that partnership. Now we do the berries. We also have a couple of things that we grow here at the farm for the usage for our animals. So we've got things like cucumbers, tomatoes. We grow collard greens, mustard greens, kale, romaine lettuce, and those are going to be mainly for our animals. And so, right now we're having a harder time getting a lot of the specialty produce that we use because like things like papayas for our toucans and but because we grow a lot of our own stuff, we can at least still provide
Sure.
produce for our animals.
That's great. So you're self-sustaining primarily.
We, we try really hard. I mean, one of the things to keep in mind with that for people who have a variety of different animals, you know, if most people we find are pretty much in the same area that we are, where it's like we do a lot of fresh produce, but then we also have a base pellet diet. The good thing about that is that if it comes down to it, if you have to go a couple of weeks with just pellets, your animals should be in good enough condition to handle that. Um, Other things to keep in mind, things like greens still are going to provide a lot of variety of nutrition. Even things like edible trees. We've got elm, we've got hackberry, we've got mulberry, we've got willow. All of these are things we can use to provide variety for all of our animals.
I wish I would have known about your place, Jack, when I was down there. I would have stayed an extra day to come and visit because I want to see that awesome aviary you're sitting in.
Well, I mean, you're definitely going to have to come next time you're in Houston as soon as you're allowed to come down to Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jack, you don't ship any of the stuff that you grow.
We don't ship it outside of the Houston area.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so we do grocery stores in the Houston area. HEB, again, focuses a lot on local produce. So we're happy to work with them, but we do that. And then we have the pick your own as well.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Any last things we want to talk about? Yeah, like I just wanted this to be, it's hard for me. It was hard for me to, wasn't hard for me to pick a topic this week at all. I just thought people want to hear what other people are doing, concerns, ideas, creativity, planning. One thing we should be doing right now is planning for what's next. When we start coming out of this, being creative, putting it on our calendar, like something I'm doing here is it's kind of fun is because my work schedule has just totally changed. So today is an enrichment day. Tomorrow is going to be like I need to cut wood for the animals, so I'm going to do that. Next day is going to be a cage training, and then I'm just getting creative about different forms of enrichment for all the animals here. But I'm really looking forward to and planning what's next. How do I get out of the house? How do I get the animals out of the house? How do I start shaping them being introduced back again into the public? You know what I mean?
Well, and one
Jack's
thing
talking.
you can do. Oh, sorry.
No, I just want to let you know.
I keep forgetting she can't hear me. One thing you can do, which is common practice in zoos with big collections, just animal areas with big collections, but in a time like this actually works really well for even just pet owners. We have charts and graphs of basically all of our different types of enrichments, all of our tasks that we do on a weekly basis, and the days they get done. So that helps with organizing the structure so that everything gets done. It provides you a little bit of mental variety so that you have your different tasks set out for different days. And then obviously with things like a chart for enrichment, if people have a few animals, if you set up a chart and oh, hey, on, Mondays, we're going to set in a new toy. And on Wednesdays, we're going to change a perch. And on Fridays, we're going to do auditory enrichment. If people get into that system, usually you find that a lot of times you've been doing the same couple of enrichment items
Yeah.
again and again and again. So it helps provide more variety for your animals that way.
Yeah. Sylvia, Jack's talking about animals, large collections of animals where setting up charts for different types of enrichment. Because I've noticed that there's a couple of different things we do here. We have a book of enrichment here. We also have a Facebook group for the volunteers at the Animal Behavior Center, and we have different albums. We'll have an album for birds, and then inside that album is like an album for Rico, album for Rocky. We have an album for dogs, a photo album for pigs, whatever, and then I add photos in there, like different enrichment items we can think of, and then the volunteers will snap photos and put them in there. Just like water can be a huge enrichment for a variety of species in so many ways. Jack, you were talking about aviaries with sprinklers. Here we use pools for the dogs, a pool for the kookaburra. Bathing can be enrichment. So that's just water, okay? And then once you start thinking about water as enrichment, you can start breaking it up as in all these different ways of water for enrichment. Like with Snow, our deaf and blind dog, she likes to chew on ice. So what we do is freeze treats in ice. I'll take a pan and I'll make it like a ½ inch thick of water, and I'll sprinkle treats through, freeze it, put another ½ inch of water on top of that, and that takes her a long time. You can even, like for Willie, you can put mice in like a big ice cube. That's going to take her a long time to get that out. And that's just one of many different ways. You can then take that ice cube and hang it somewhere where she's got to jump and try to destroy it. But that's keeping her mind engaged, And that's just thinking about using water as enrichment.
Yeah, I mean, and so we're in Houston. Obviously, as you can imagine, in the summer, it's hot. So we
Yeah.
do a lot of popsicles, frozen treats like that. So things like our camels, they absolutely love. We'll take a 5-gallon bucket, layer produce, a little bit of water, produce a little bit of water. If that gets a little bit boring, into the water that we're freezing, we can mix a little bit of a crystal light powder. So then the ice has a little bit of a flavor too. So they like to play around with that. So our pigs love it. Our goats are incredibly spoiled. They mostly just look at me like, why are you making me do this much work? But, we try to provide a variety of things for our animals. And I mean, and that's one of the things we want to make sure that people know, that it's like, yes, we're close to our farm funland area. We aren't going to have our barrel train running or anything like that. But like, we have animals. We don't stop because we can't. And there's the donkeys wanting to be a part of this now. We've got a variety of animals. We have to make sure their nutritional needs are met, that their yards are cleaned, that they are emotionally, mentally stimulated. So, I mean, it keeps going.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of comments. I don't know if you guys can see them about enrichment. And a lot of comments about enrichment. That is the primary reason I train. It's not because I've always wanted to be a trainer. It's because studies show that if you're actually using positive reinforcement training, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. And those of us that do use positive reinforcement as training know that. That's very evident when the dog runs up to you as soon as the training session starts. We have birds here that beg for training sessions to start, but I can't be training all of the time. This is why other forms of enrichment are extremely important. And this is what we focus on in our online memberships and projects. And I think right now we should probably focus even harder on them, coming up with different enrichment ideas, because people are making a lot of comments about the ice and the water as forms of enrichment. You know how I found out? Water can be a reinforcer. It is a reinforcer because it keeps us all alive, but how it's delivered can also be a positive punisher. I talked about this in one of the podcasts where Snow, our deaf and blind dog, she started digging in the center, and the inside of our center is beautiful, and we like our grass to stay really pretty green, and three dogs can take a toll on that. But be specific. I was like, she's starting to dig. This is a behavior I don't want to have to counter condition. So I need to identify the reinforcer behind the undesired behavior, undesired by me, right now. What is it? And she was digging in this one spot. So I'm looking, and I followed her out the next time because I knew she was going to dig. But she can't see where she's going because she has no eyes, but yet she's going to that same spot. So I sat there and I watched, and our center is 10,000 square feet, and it has huge. It has huge gutters, like a foot and a half wide gutters that run along both sides, and one runs through the center. There's a leak in the gutter, and there was a drop of water that would come down in this one particular spot, and it hit her in the head, and she sits there and she's like trying to figure out where this drop of water came from. So this is why I say be specific. So I'm sitting there watching her, and I was just like, okay, could it be the drop of water? But then her feet hit the ground where that drop of water was. Temperature difference, you know what I mean? And she probably felt the temperature difference on her feet, and she started digging. And then what happened next? Mud puddle. And then with a white dog, that's enrichment.
Yeah.
You know, so that's when I was just like, water as enrichment, even though we've always done that. But I needed to teach her how to take a bath without, and how that water was delivered could either be a positive reinforcer or a positive punisher. So guess what I started with? A drop of water on the back of her head, something familiar. And then I shaped it because I wanted her taking a shower in my shower, not in the mud puddle. Then I started shaping the water, how the water was delivered. So I put mud puddle on the bottom, not mud puddle, water puddle on the bottom of the shower. And she would start tapping in that. So then I started shaping, adding more water. So I took the shower nozzle, aimed it towards the wall of the shower so she could feel the water coming down the shower and across her feet. And that's how I wanted to make sure water stayed a positive reinforcer and not turned into a positive punisher. And then it became, I just started experimenting with more water, ice cubes. And somebody asked, how do we use ice we use ice for the birds. We stick fruits and vegetables in ice cube trays and hand it to them. It works for some, it doesn't work for all, but you just keep experimenting.
Yeah. I've shaped my dogs to enjoy the pool.
Okay, good.
Pool. I shaped it really, really slowly, and it didn't necessarily happen in a season. So I use their kiddie pool, I use the boogie board. It's fun. Like when we go in the pool, it's like, oh my God, can I swim? It's become a form of enrichment for the dogs because they think it's playtime. So,
and it's free bath.
They just love it because I just shaped it and it's all about fun. So they love it. But some other things that owners can do at home with their dogs is they can just take objects and start getting their dogs to walk over them and climb them. And, if they're afraid of step stools and stuff, you can keep things on the down low. You can have them walking over different substrates and just getting them used to, doing different things, walking on soft cushions, putting their paws up on things. It's something I do when I go for walks anyway. I'm always getting my dogs to climb on the rocks or logs or, well, right now the kitty equipment is locked up, but, you know,
Just something different.
just something different. Like it's like, just different.
Yeah.
It's not boring. Like even our foraging toys, they never get the same foraging toy. I have, you know, so many different shapes and sizes, and yeah, always different every day. But yeah, you can get your dogs climbing over, you know, I'm sure you can find stuff over the house, getting them jumping on a chair, jumping on a step stool, putting their front feet on a pail, or, you know, so just something different.
Yeah, and that's what training can provide that as well. Just like I think we did this in level 1, where we started a activity, a nose targeting activity to get. We had all different species of animals touching their nose or beaks to an X. That was the activity, the target training, and then I bumped up the activity. Like, okay, now that we have our animals touching their noses to an X, let's use this X, which is a target, and place it on something to get your animal to move something. So I ended up placing an X on a rolling chair and teaching Quincy to push that chair across the room. Somebody they targeted their bird's beak to this small bar, and then ended up teaching that bird to push a shopping cart, a small shopping cart. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I've started teaching my dog. Well, my dogs, I get them to target their chin on my hand, and then I just keep building the duration, and then, you know, I might just look at their eye. So it's a great husbandry exercise, but they love it. I put my hand out for them to put their chin on. It's like, yeah. Um, it's training, and you're getting them ready for, you know, accepting husbandry, but they love it.
yeah.
So
And try not to punish curiosity. And a lot of people, well, I see that happen a lot where people are like, oh, my dog likes this or my animal likes this, but you move that thing that it was curious about too fast, and boom, now you have an
yeah,
animal that's
yeah.
fearful of new
I
objects.
have I have one of my dogs that's really, he's nosy. And so if you have something that he's never seen in your hand, he's like, I want to see that. I want to see that. So I just show it to him. I'm going, here, have a look. But it's mine, not yours. He's
Right?
like, okay.
That's
You know, he
fun.
smells it, he has a look at it, and it's like, but it's mine.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Okay, you guys, we've been going for an hour, and Jack and Sylvia, I appreciate your time. I don't want to keep you and take you away from the things you have to do. This has been a great discussion.
Yeah, glad to be a part of
Yeah,
it.
thank you for having me. I do have to go to another call though.
Okay, okay.
I'm
Well,
gonna I'm gonna leave.
okay. Thanks,
Thanks
Sylvia.
everybody.
Um,
Everybody stay safe and positive, and have fun with your animals.
yep, and you can find Sylvia and Jack on Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take care.
See
Take
you,
care,
Sylvia.
Laura.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Thanks. Jack, I want to thank you so much for coming on with me today.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad to be here.
And I
Although
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if I can take a minute of just like shameless self promotion.
Absolutely.
Because again, so right now here at the farm, we're trying to put out a lot of online content to see what people are interested in, um, give you something you can do with your kids that's just a little bit brightness, happiness. You know, we part of why we do this is that we love our animals. We love showing them off. So, I mean, if anybody is interested in it, you can find us on YouTube. It's just Blessington Farms.
I'm going to take this out, Jack, and I'm going to show it on screen. So can you spell it for me?
It's going to be Blessington Farms. So Blessington.
Okay.
And then Farms. So we're on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook. If you follow us on Facebook, you know, we try to share more information there. Also on Instagram, Twitter. And then, of course, you can always go to our website, blessingtonfarms.com. But we're trying to basically put our information out everywhere so that it's accessible as people need it. If there is anything that would be useful, if there are people homeschooling, if there are people trying to set up things like that, please let us know what information you'd like us to cover. The disappointing part for us right now is that we do, multiple field trips. We'll have several thousand kids come on field trips in the spring that we're not getting to do. We're not getting to educate those kids. So we're missing out on that. Our animals are missing out on that. So we definitely like to try to continue that.
Yes, and I put your website up, and
Okay.
I showed it. It'll be there. People can see it. Trisha Anderson has also put the link in the chat that everybody's on. Yeah. So, Jack, thanks so much for coming on with me today, this morning. What day is it? What time is it? And for those of you that are watching, that may be interested, I'm trying to, there we go. Our memberships, we teach people all around the world how to work with behavior, modify behavior, use positive reinforcement training, and enrich animals. We do that. You can find more about our website, more about this on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Level 1, $149 for the year. You're getting podcasts, live stream monthly Q&A. We do these activities. Level 2, we go a little more in depth. Next week, we're going to be discussing creating online business and different ways to do that. We also have our projects, which are species specific. So we have the Deaf Dog Project, the Parrot Project, Pig Project, Snow Project. The Parrot Project is huge and rocking, especially at this time. So thank you. And with that being said, I just want to thank everybody for joining me, myself, Jack Pine, and Sylvia Koczerzuk. Jack, it was really good seeing you again.
Good seeing you.
And stay safe.
Doing our best.
All right. Take care, everybody.